it is time for What the Hack. And there's been a reasonable amount of discussion, not in any way significantly positive. There's been a sort of ho-hum reaction to the launch, just a fortnight ago, of Apple Vision Pro, which one tech journalist said is a VR headset that doesn't want to be a VR headset. It wants to be more than that. Apple calls it a dual reality headset. But just generally the technical possibilities of it don't have people terribly excited. And the price, which is around 70,000 South African rand, if you just do the dollar price conversion into rands, also has people scratching their heads and saying, why would I pay that amount of money for that piece of indifferent technology? But it does allow us to ask the question now of Nazareen Ebrahim, the CEO of Naz Consulting International, as to whether VR headsets, augmented reality headsets, dual reality headsets, whatever they call them, have the potential to become mainstream. Naz, good morning.
Good morning, John. Always nice to talk to you. I heard you speak of the coffee situation, and I thought to myself, we all suffer for some pleasure in life, women for their heels and you for your coffee. So my sympathies are with you.
Yeah, well, I'm learning to walk on my Louboutin high heels. I'm practicing at night at home.
Very nicely done. So you asked about headsets.
Yeah, and because my instinct, and my instincts in tech are not very good. I understand that it's not likely to spread much beyond the sort of gaming community that are using VR headsets at the moment. What do you think?
Well, with that sentiment, I think your instincts on tech are right on point. The Vision Pro was launched, given showing to the world at WWDC, which is a worldwide developers conference that Apple hosts every year in Cupertino. And it's their flagship event of the year. So every developer who wants to be a developer is there. And when they showed it off, Tim Cook was very poetic in his approach to what it means to launch the Vision Pro. He says, I believe that augmented reality is a profound technology, saying that Apple's introduction of Vision Pro will introduce people to new forms of spatial computing, and comparing the product introduction to the way iPhone introduced smartphones to millions of people. Now, your sentiment about does this have a kind of life in it, considering that VR headsets with Meta having pushed Oculus for a long time. They, by the way, actually just released Oculus. I think it's the Meta Quest 3 in terms of their headset offering to the market. And this was a few days before the Vision Pro released. There, the price comparison is around $500, which is significantly less than what you announced, around $3,500 for the Vision Pro. But again, as an observer, as a technology communicator, as a person in the industry for many years who's worked across different technologies and solutioning for our clients, I can say that these technologies have a place, particularly in learning and arenas which require you to be immersed in a particular space in a controlled environment. It has a space for that. But if we look at mainstream use for the average person on the street, what does this translate to? And how many more entertainment, communication segments or streams can we have as an option? John, if you look at the human mind, you walk into an aisle in the supermarket. If I can look at 3 or 4 cereals, that's max for me. I can't look at more than that, or toothpaste, or whatever you want to look at. Choice for us as human beings should be limited, but it's not in this day and age. And I suppose it's just another outlet for how people can experience the world. When Tim Cook says that it's an entirely new way for people to really experience the technology. Bob Iger, Disney CEO, was also at Apple's Vision Pro launch. He says the revolutionary platform will let the company create deeply immersive stories in ways that were previously impossible. Now, I love when the tech organizations really come on. They're introducing a new product. They speak to us in extremely inspirational ways that promise us the world, the universe, and universe unseen beyond. But yet the mainstream use of that has to translate. And that typically will translate in a small impact way at large organizations that will use it as a novel method in an initial stage. if it hits mainstream, especially with headset VR AR use, it's got to translate, I would say, in the first instance as an education format. And how that works is yet to be seen.
Thank you very, very much indeed for our Tuesday morning What the Hack. Nazareen Ebrahim, CEO of Naz Consulting International. I once had, the only time I've had somebody walk out in an interview with me was in the late 90s, it would have been, a woman called Faith Popcorn, who was supposedly the absolute trend forecasting guru. And she wrote a book called Clicking. And she was setting out what she thought were going to be the irreversible trends of the next couple of decades. And she said to me that people were not going to go on holiday anymore because they would sit in a booth with an augmented reality headset and they would experience the holiday virtually because it would be more fun for them than trying to find parking at the airport, getting onto the plane, being cramped in economy class, having somebody farting behind you in the seat or in front of you, which would probably be even worse. And I said, no, I simply don't believe it. I believe that what you get on a fully three-dimensional involved holiday with you in the place is you're never going to make that. And she said, no, it's going to happen. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't believe you. It's not going to happen. So she said, well, if that's the attitude you're going to take, I'm leaving this conversation. And she got up and walked out of the studio. History.